You want to be a developer who is competent by the tech industry standards, but you aren't sure how to get there. OmniQuotient is here to help. By selecting the tech that you use and answering questions belonging to these technologies, you can check if you are currently using the recommended practices in coding. If you aren't, you will learn what these practices are, so you can go ahead, learn them, and become a better developer producing better code. OmniQuotient. Learn how professionals code.
Live.
Hi. Hi. Welcome to
CTOs Discuss.
Yeah, Jerv, can you turn down the music a bit? I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, better.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank you everybody for joining us. But before I thank everybody else, I just want to say, hi, Jerv. Finally, our plan has come to life. How long have you been planning this for?
2 months.
Yeah, it's been
more or less.
a long time.
Yeah.
2 months, and we've been just bouncing off like, we gotta do a live stream together. We gotta do a podcast together. And it's like, we should. We should.
But we're all both busy, very busy,
Yeah.
But
Even the language that we use, right? Let's follow up on this, next month. Okay.
But because we're busy, good. Grabe.
Yeah, let's welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to first episode of CTOs Discuss. And this is where two CTOs. Yeah, we're chief technology officers. The rationale behind this is, usually podcasts are about like the CEOs, usually like the head of the business. And we said like, why don't we do something where it's also like, the CTO naman, right?
Yeah, from a different perspective, diba? Like, I think majority of podcasts, there are some too, but majority would be business related, right? And I think us developers, engineers, you could even call geeks or nerds, have a very unique perspective about things too. So I think it's good that we're doing this.
Yeah. So for our first episode, we were trying to think of like, what can we do that most people can relate to? Most people will, can it's not too deep technology, it's in tangent with something that people can relate to. And we realized there is something that everybody can relate to. Everybody in the world actually. And it's this pandemic, right? It's COVID. So we asked ourselves, what can we do? What can we do about COVID? What can we do about COVID? And then Jerp came up with this idea that we do a retro.
Technology. Yeah. So Scrum, right? Agile. So we're doing a retro, guys. So today, this evening, I guess we would be discussing what went well, what didn't go well, what we could still improve, and then lastly, it's what still confuses us. So this is really good because it's been a year, right? And I think that's enough time to have a lot of hindsight about things, and at the same time look back, no? And parang New Year, diba? It's like it's a new year. You always have resolutions, so it's also good we do it this way. And for you guys that are in the tech industry, I'm sure you know what a retrospective is. So it's like every week or every 2 weeks, right? You look at what happened with your sprints, with your projects, and then you improve from there. Gradual improvement, and that's the theme for this evening.
Yeah, and maybe for those who don't know what a retrospective is, a retrospective is something that it's a meeting. It's a meeting with between like all the people in the team that are working on a project, and we discuss the hard stuff. Well, the first one is not so hard. It's what went well. But the second one
depends. In this situation, that might be hard.
That is true. And the second question is what didn't go well, and we talk about like the hard truth of what didn't go well. And the third, what can we do better? And then finally, what puzzles or what confuses us, just so that we can bring it up and we can discuss it. So we're gonna
And
do that.
improve.
Yeah, we're gonna do that on the topic of COVID a year after. So why don't we kick it off, Jerb? Um,
Yeah, let's begin. Let's, I guess, positive vibes first, right? So, what went well? Oh, by the way, just so we have more structure into the discussion, what we've decided to do is to like cut it into three sub topics, right? So what went well, what didn't go well, improve, confusing, into like social experiences, like personal,
yeah.
and then second is work, and then third is on a macro level, like world or national, right? Maybe you wanna kick things off, Bert? Like what went well for you in terms of those
Okay.
three things?
So for me, social experience, what went well? Well, I think I found the pandemic a time where I really found a new or a refresher on what it means to spend quality time with the people you love.
Yeah.
So I mean, I live with my wife. We live together away from my parents or from her parents. But during the pandemic, I moved in with my mom, and my sisters, and we spent the time like a better part of the year just bonding. Right? We're stuck at home because of quarantine, so kind of forced bonding, and for me, like that is something I will cherish for a long time because
Mm.
if it weren't for the pandemic, I would not have had that opportunity to do it. I don't think in my mind, like I don't think we would ever actually move in back with our my parents, my family, and stay close together every day if it weren't for this pandemic.
Yeah, I think
So
I agree with that. Like even with us, like me and Marcy, I think it's because we're kind of forced to be together, right? Parang nag-iba din yung dynamics, and
right,
like whereas before, like I don't know for you, Bert, because you guys are like in same for your startup, right? I don't know if there was a work from home situation before COVID,
yeah,
but with
yeah,
us it was
but no,
always not so much.
not so much.
Yeah, but with us, kasi it was like you're home, right? You prepare for work, you go to work, and then you go home, right? It's like 8 to 10 depends, like up to 12 hours. Sometimes you're not at home, right? And in this case, you're always at home. So I found it a very good learning experience. No, na sometimes we both adjust in things like in meetings, right? Like sometimes I'm in doing in meetings and we live in this in one room, right? One unit. And
Yeah,
so magkakarinigan. It
yeah.
was an adjustment, but it was interesting. It was a positive experience for me.
That is true because well, we're bleeding into work right now. But we
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when we started off with this work from home situation, my wife and I and my sister, we all converted the spare room into an office, right? So we had like
Uh,
all the computers and the internet set up, and that only lasted like I don't know a week because right, like I'm doing a meeting, they can't concentrate. Worse is if we're doing meetings simultaneously.
yeah.
Yeah, we're bleeding into each other's meetings, and so
Yeah,
fortunately
I
for
made it
me,
into an excuse, Bert, to actually buy good audio equipment. So Marcy might
oh
be laughing now if she's watching. But yeah, I was upgrading our stuff here at home because of that. But probably that was just an excuse.
yeah, so far we're talking about the good things or what went well.
Right, right, right.
For me, I'll talk about work. So what went well with work is I would say this is strange, but I would say that we grew closer as a team
Mm, mm.
with work from home. And I say this because when we were forced to shift to work from home, um, immediately felt the disconnect. We immediately felt like no more water cooler conversations,
Yeah,
no more like casual conversations by the pantry. All of
yeah,
that is gone. So we were forced to retro and say,
yeah.
what can we do in regards to our connectedness? And so
Right.
over time, we came up with suggestions on activities, on think
Bonding,
on
no?
yeah bonding activities that we can do
Yeah,
online and continuously do online. And the interesting thing here is that one of the activities we did, what we call is kickoff syncs. So every day, everybody is required to join a kickoff sync, And a kickoff sync is like, it started off with like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and then 1 p.m. So because we have
This is
flexi
not
time.
a stand up,
No, no,
or it
no. A
is
stand-up is
different
related to
work.
a project, right? A
Ah,
kickoff sync is like when you are about to start your day. You example, you started at 9 a.m. Then you go
mm,
to a Discord. We use Discord, so you go to a Discord voice channel, and you go to a voice channel with a lot with other people who are also starting at 9 a.m. Right?
mm,
You join that, and people you meet random people because not everybody starts at the same time every day because we're flexi time. So you
mm.
join in there in the room, and then you have a different question every day. You kind of have like an icebreaker question. Like for example, a question would be like, "Who hurt you and you had a hard time forgiving?" Like that kind of question. It's kind of who got like question like, when was the last time somebody hurt you so bad that you had a hard time forgiving? I
Oh
think that was
my.
yesterday's question, I think. And so then like
Basta
people
not
take
not work related at all.
no, 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 not work related stuff like
Interesting,
if you had a
interesting.
superpower, what would you want? Right? Like what kind of superpower
Yeah.
would you want and why? So you would share these things. And so I am now there in a meeting at 9 a.m. I'm joining in and I'm answering this question. People can hear me as a CTO. And so they get to know what I'm thinking. And at the same time, the intern is there, right?
Interesting.
A new intern is there, and I'm hearing and I'm getting to know him, and we're having fun. And this is every day. This is every day. And so before, if you were an intern, you would rarely have FaceTime with me. Like you, not that it's a, I think that's a bad thing,
True,
right?
true, true, true.
But it's not common. Like maybe I will welcome them for a few minutes and then that's it. And then they might talk to me whenever they would have the courage, I suppose, to approach. Right.
Mm.
I try my best to be available, but obviously there's like, interns, like I'm not always seeking out to do that. I try to once in a while. But with this remote setup and this kickoff sync, every day I'm getting to know somebody in a new perspective because there's always a different icebreaker questions. And sometimes the questions can be so good, like for example, like a love kind of question, like, well, what was your first love, and what did, like for example, what's a crazy thing you did for love? Such a
Ooh.
chica question, right? So you would find these during these times that almost everybody will join almost every sync because they want to also hear like, and I have
This
to
is
kind
the
of
whole
stop.
company, not per team, right?
No, not per team. It's just the whole company.
Wow,
We're
that's
about
interesting.
60, 70. I
That's
don't know now.
that's very good.
Yeah, so but usually each sync is only like maximum 10, 15 people, sometimes even 5.
Mm.
Depends on the time. And
Yeah.
if, for example, if it's like a bad weather, like it's raining in the morning, you would usually see like the 1 p.m. sync will be the one filled up the most, right?
Ah, wait, it's multiple times during the day?
Oh yeah, because we're flexi time. So you only have to join one.
Ah, okay,
You only
okay.
have to join
But how many
one
times do you do it? Like as an
once.
enterprise, sobrang formal enterprise. As a company, you do it once lang? But why like 9 and then 1?
Yeah, well, this is a picture that Lenny is flashing. This is us in Discord. No, we do it 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11
Mm.
a.m., 1 p.m. Those are like the time
Ah, set
slots.
time for all the time schedules, the shifts.
Yes.
Okay,
Or,
okay.
but kind of lately, that people have modified it. Like if they arrive late, like they arrive at 2 p.m., well, that's not
Mm.
late because we're flexi time. But if they arrive at 2 p.m. and they haven't done a sync yet, they will say, anybody who hasn't done a sync yet, join me in Discord now. And then you'll see like 4 people like chicaing there for like a few
Yeah.
minutes.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting, Bert, because what this actually replaces is the office dynamics, right? It was taken out,
Mhm.
and I think for us, what we do is town halls, but I think that one's like like a month in between. So dugay ka, it takes a while, right? But this one, it's like the what do you call this? The pandemic version of the office chica, right? Like
Yeah.
like those things help, like
But
in terms
Office
of
Chica,
chemistry.
right. Office Chica is random though, right? Office Chica is
True, true,
random.
true, true, true.
But
But
this
still, it's
one,
dynamics, interacting with someone else, right? Those things are very helpful, like with teams.
this I would call it like a micro team building.
True. Yeah, better, better. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
better.
would call it micro team building. It only happens 15 minutes per day,
Mm, mm, mm.
um, but it's every day. And so, actually, if you ask all our interns that leave, and we ask in the exit interviews, like
Right.
what's your most favorite part about Intim activity? They always, almost always, 90% of the time say
Sync.
kickoff syncs. Yeah, Because can you imagine an intern during remote work? I
Yeah.
think it's the worst time to be an intern.
True,
If
true,
you,
true.
it's like
It's
you're
very hard
coming
to
in.
adjust. Yeah.
Exactly. It's hard
Although it could
to.
be the flip side too, Bert. It could be that you're learning the new normal, right? Oh, there's another picture being shared.
Yeah.
It looks very fun, huh?
Yeah, just random people, random questions, but you have to do it every day. So yeah.
Cool, cool. I guess for us that kind of melds with the daily stand-ups, right? So for us naman, like we do it per team and even up to the mancom level, Bert. So all the leaders we meet at 8:30 a.m. every day, and I guess that's where the UBX version of the sync happens, right? Like we ask like how we were during the weekend, how was everything, but each scrum teams also do that, right? And I think a lot of the guys also make it happen that um, those things would also happen. Like what you said, like it's like your sync, right? Like how are
Yeah.
you? Or
Yeah.
but it's not as I guess
I,
structured like what you guys are doing it very well.
we will. What happened was when we went to remote, we
Yeah.
fell flat on our faces. Right, first week, just horrible. People
In terms
complaining about
of productivity or like
everything.
engagement. Okay.
Everything.
Interesting.
Internet, people were having trouble connecting to, even from their houses. They didn't really have
Yeah.
exactly the best internet. Second, productivity, mental health, connectedness, right? Like all of these things, zero. So from there, because we didn't really have any remote work infrastructure or culture built in, we are an office culture. Um, we take pride in
Interesting.
our
Very
office.
similar to us. Yeah, very similar to
Yeah.
us.
So when we fell flat on our face, so to speak, we had to like take extreme measures to get back up, and so we had to
Mm.
research what were the other companies doing. We had to research like what are the possibilities. We had to do retros, get suggestions from people, run polls. What can we do? What can we do? And I think the kickoff sync came out after multiple iterations to its current form. Maybe 2 months in. I would say 2 months in. Yeah. In the beginning, we even started with like accountability partners where you would like have a
Oh my
partner.
goodness, that's so churchy.
Yeah, yeah. Accountability partner where you would check in with your partner and say
Yeah,
how are they, right? But it
yeah,
was
yeah.
it was it was too forced, it was too specific, that died down and that evolved into like, hey, let's make it more random. And then let's make it interesting questions. Let's make it a different question every day. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
We tried selfies. We tried selfies, like take a selfie, send it to Discord, send it to the chat. That worked for like maybe a week, but then people got tired of showing their same like just
Yeah.
got off the bed, woke up like this kind of selfie. So it didn't last. So we tried many
That's
things. This is what stuck.
but after you did this, you saw a bump in everything like engagement, efficiency, productivity, blah blah blah.
It's hard to pinpoint it exactly to this. I would say this has a very good effect on connectedness and happiness.
Right.
There are other activities we have to do in order to bump up maybe productivity,
Mm,
right?
mm.
To keep focus. So in Discord, we now have like library. We have a library. It's a room where you go in and everybody's automatically muted because before in Discord people would
A
like,
quiet room.
yeah, a quiet room, a virtual quiet room, which somebody can pull you out if there's a very urgent concern.
Mm.
But if you're there, you're kind of respected in your space and you're allowed to focus. That's
Yeah.
one.
How are you guys like structured, Bert? Like per project, different team, or like you guys have cross-functional teams working on similar
So
projects?
yeah, so it's a mix. So exactly as you mentioned, there are projects where there are dedicated teams,
Okay.
and then there are teams which handle multiple projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those, yeah, two things like that. But everybody, because of the kickoff syncs, know each other because
Mm,
of these things.
mm.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we do.
That's very nice. Yeah, we should apply that actually.
Should
I'll
try
I'll
it out.
suggest that on Monday.
Should try it out. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. Galing, galing, galing. It's really nice. I think for me naman, like if I could share before we go to the macro things, right?
yeah.
I think what worked well for me and Marcy, my wife, is that we No, actually, even in Manila, actually. So we came from the US, right? And then we learned about COVID while in the US. And then the situation in Manila at that time was Taal exploded. And so a lot of
Yeah,
people were kind of prepared already about staying in at home, right? And then a lot of people have masks na din, no? Even though,
true.
well, still though, like when the pandemic actually hit, like, and everyone knew that it was like real, there were still like a lack and panic buying of stuff. But for us, what worked well was that when we were in the US, we bought a lot na, and so we got here kind of prepared, right? And we were
What do you mean? You
thinking,
bought a lot from the US and
yeah, yeah,
brought
yeah,
it
we bought
home,
like 3 boxes, bro,
and you
of
brought it. Okay,
face
interesting.
masks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Because of Taal, the first like not panic but worry, right? Was Taal, and it
I
was
see.
it was all over. And my brother was sending me messages, and I think he sent pictures then of ashfall. It was bad, and so I think that kind of prepared people, right? So I thought when I was doing the retro, preparing for this, that actually worked out really good in terms of like it was lucky, right?
Yeah,
That it
it is luck.
happened.
Yeah,
It is, but it went well, right? Like I
yeah.
mean, that was part of it. And same time, people were kind of ready to stock up also, no, because of Taal, yeah, right? Now, so that's for personal. The other thing, I guess, is because we live together in one, like in our condo. It was very small. I think for us, like again, very personal, we were able to move to a new place, a bigger one, right? Because of that side, because we were living in that space. And this is kind of like what didn't go well, I guess. But Marcy and I are travelers. Like we love to travel, and we really can't stay put, right? So I think being stuck in a room, like I don't know if you know the term cabin sickness, right?
Cabin
It
fever.
it cabin sickness, cabin fever. It got to us, and so it prompted us actually to look at, parang this investment, like a new home, new condo, and so that actually went well for us. For work naman, I think what surprised us when we implemented working from home, again, coming from Taal, etc. So there were many reasons to do it early, and we actually announced our work from home setup a week before the ECQ was announced by the government. So kind of advanced, right? Our
Okay.
worry at that time was productivity, like it would go down. But I guess I could call it, like, to our surprise, there was an increase, like a 30 to
Oh wow!
40% increase in terms of
Right
productivity.
away.
Yeah, yeah, bro. I think
Wow.
the reason why I asked to, like, how you guys are set up is because in our organization, each team would belong to one team, and they would only work on one venture, one project. And I
Got it.
think
Yeah.
that kind of, built the camaraderie or the connection already. And so when work from home was announced, like everyone was comfortable with each other na. And um I think a big part also was the commute, right? So, like, in Manila, right? It's very bad, the traffic. So, a lot of people, they just wake up and then go straight to the computer, right? And then work right away. So, that was actually a surprise, a pleasant surprise for us, because productivity went higher actually, and we were able to maintain that, if not even better,
What if it wasn't
year and year.
productivity didn't really go up, but it's like it was pent up productivity that was being hindered by that commute, right? The
No, no, I
commute
think
was
that's true. I
decreasing
think
the
that's true.
productivity of
I
each
think that's
person,
true.
and then when the commute didn't have to happen,
No
the
choice.
yeah, the productivity, like, that was unlocked, right?
Again, you could probably call it like got luck again, right? But I think a lot of things like required, right? And I think Marcy and I were talking about this. Like if we got hit by the pandemic when we were a year old or a few months old pa lang in our company, it would have been bad because people don't know each other, right? And I think like the chemistry and being comfortable talking to you online wouldn't be as high because
Yeah.
we didn't know each other too much, right? So I think that was a big factor. for us at work. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this one? We have this virtual town hall.
Wow, where did you get that? Galing ah. So we do this every month, right? So this is John Yanushchak, our CEO. So we it's like your version of the sync, right? So we do have like non-work segments of the town hall. Like newbies would be presenting, they would dance, they would sing, perform magic tricks, whatever they want to do. Like a welcome presentation. And then
Uh-huh.
we would also be presenting the numbers, right? Like how we did for the month. And it's constant communication lang yun. It's very necessary, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because you can't see the people you're working with. That like our CEO always says, like you cannot over communicate, right? The more
Yeah.
the more the better,
Yeah.
kind of.
Over
Yeah, yeah.
communicate is the goal, is the
Yeah,
norm.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I the other thing that this pandemic kind of did well in terms of at work also, Bert, is it for us accelerated like digital transformation, right? Like a lot of, how do I say this? Like before this all came, we were already discussing about work from home, right? And I think because we were forced to do it, we were forced to make it happen, right? Like we
Yeah.
were shoved off the cliff and we had to build our wings so that we won't hit the ground. And so in that case, that actually like hastened that for us, right? And so we were using same tools, Discord for a while, and then of course there's Slack, Google Chat, Zoom, etc. But yeah, it's like necessity is the mother of invention, right? So because we
Yeah.
needed it, we had to learn.
But in this
Yeah.
case, it's not invention actually. Necessity has been the mother of adoption because the technologies have already
True,
been
true,
there.
true, 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 true.
The
That's true. That's
adoption
true.
was driven by the pandemic.
That's why I saw this meme like what caused digital transformation in your company, and there were
COVID.
like innovation, blah blah blah. But it was COVID. Like for
Yeah.
sure, it was COVID.
Yeah. Not the
Yeah, yeah.
CTO, not
No,
the
no, no,
CEO,
no.
just
It was
COVID.
it was the pandemic. It was the pandemic.
Well, this is a good segue actually to the macro level. I would
Yeah.
say what went well is actually the adoption of technology and making operations much more efficient using digital tools. Like you see the rise of Grab, right? The
Mm.
rise of what you can do via Grab Mart, and everything. And I was so amazed the first time I could buy sliced bread and get it delivered like within like 30 minutes
Because
using.
you guys didn't have Honest Bee before, right? In Cebu,
We had
we had.
Honest Bee.
Yeah,
We had Honest Bee. But it
but you
was
didn't.
like, no, the mindset, bro. It's like Honest Bee's grocery. Like usually you would buy it when, once a week, like for your grocery one time. But the thought of like, I want sliced bread right now.
Mm, mm, mm.
Like I would then pick up open Grab Mart, buy like sliced bread. Just
Yeah,
sliced bread. Just like
yeah,
70 pesos worth of sliced bread. And then boom,
yeah,
you have it there. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah, yeah, for
I
sure.
was super amazed. I was like, this is a game changer. Now that I mean, I know based because of the technology, I am super aware of the technology. I know that it works supposedly, but just the
Yeah,
fact that it actually is deployed and working now, logistically speaking, from where I can access it, to me was like, okay, you should not teach my mom this. And then my mom knew about it, and now my mom just,
orders
she's an
everything
expert at
online.
she's an online shopper. Yeah, which is
Wow.
I'm happy for her because she can shop online. Yeah, she just now have to keep her budget. But
Yeah, I think a lot of people shop more than the previous years because of like you're at home. Like a lot of people would have access to the smartphones, and it's so fast to just order, right?
yeah,
I mean, it really
adoption.
changed a lot. It changed a lot. It forced a lot like adoption. Like even us, like we work in the fintech industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Online transactions increase so much, right? Because
Do you have
of all
like
the
a ballpark
hindrance.
figure, bro?
Uh it it increased a lot. It increased a lot. Like so a lot. But I think
Okay.
cash is still like king, right? And I think
Okay.
majority would still do that, but it's just a lot. And I think for us that like it's I'm kind of hesitant to say it, but again, we're positive vibes pa naman now, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that pushed a lot of transactions through our channels. And I mean it was I guess a success for us because it's weird to say this, but because of the pandemic, you know, a lot of online transactions like e-commerce,
No, yeah,
there
yeah.
was a boom.
I mean, the technology was already there. It was you guys had your apps, your
Yeah,
fintech
yeah.
apps already there. You could do bank transfers, online transfers, wallet transfers
Mm.
using your smartphone. I mean, I already had that pre-pandemic, but
Mm.
you couldn't do that to just anybody, right? You couldn't transfer money to anybody. And let me tell you
True,
an
true,
example.
true.
Like my delivery guy, I don't have cash anymore, right? To give a tip, you know what?
Mm.
What I do is, hey, I'll
Gcash.
just I'll just online transfer, right?
Online transfer.
Yeah, I just online transfer or Gcash, right? Like and like, what's your Gcash? Like, and they text me, they have a Gcash, and then I just do a Gcash transfer for
Yeah,
a
it
tip.
forced yeah. Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
forced a lot of people to do it because like you couldn't travel, right? And then
Mhm.
I think what happened was it was the only way to get paid, the only way to, you know, everything to actually happen it's online.
Yeah, and we spray alcohol on the money that we get, bro, like cash. We're that
Really?
we're that we're that paranoid. I'm paranoid, right?
Yeah, I think
Um,
for us at the start, like the groceries that came in the condo, we used to wipe them. Right? We used to wipe everything. Like even parcels like from Lazada, we used to spray it with Lysol. But after a while, wala na. We didn't, you know, we didn't we didn't do it anymore. Like it wasn't worth
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. We still do. I don't do it personally. We assign my sibling is the ano, so I just encourage her to
That's
keep
good.
going. So
That's good.
she's
Yeah.
quite disciplined at doing it.
Yeah. We wash our hands like a lot though. Like a
Yeah,
lot.
that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, bro.
Hmm.
Do
I
you? I
think
mean,
but
this is
one
content. What?
more.
Go ahead.
I think like let's look at where it didn't have that much impact across the like in the world, right? I think Taiwan is the top one in terms of
Yeah.
performance against COVID. And I think they did very well because there was a lot of work from government at the same time private institutions. And then I was just reading this article that hackers even helped Taiwan
Right. Right.
trace and you know find out where masks are still in stock, you know, all those things. So I think that actually went well for them also
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
know
I
there's a lot of
agree.
cooperation.
Yo, well, there's that. And then there's also what I heard, right, is that
Mm.
Taiwan during the SARS
Yeah, yeah.
epidemic. I don't know what you call it when it's localized, but during the SARS spreading of SARS a couple of years, maybe a decade back, Taiwan was quite affected, like very affected.
Yeah, I think they
Uh,
learned, right? And I think
so I think they were like hashtag never again. Like,
no, no, that's
so
true. I mean, yeah, that's true. I think we should do that actually, like in the Philippines. Before, like SARS was also here, right? But nobody was wearing masks. Like nobody felt it like very serious about it. And so
mhm.
I think at the start, and this is kind of going to the what didn't go well, what we can
Uh-huh.
improve,
Yeah.
is we have very high optimism or optimistic bias na that's not gonna happen to me. Or I survived SARS. This is gonna be like nobody took it seriously. And I think these guys very aggressive at the start palang, like very aggressively doing the controls, etc. And yeah, I think that worked out very well for them because they had that bad experience before. And I hope we learn from this, right? Like I hope everyone does a personal retrospective and like how can I improve moving forward, diba?
Yeah. Maybe let's go to what didn't go well now.
Game.
Okay. So what didn't go well and segue to your like optimistic bias. I think this is quite personal to me because I looked up COVID like early on, and I look at the statistics. Like, I'm kind of like a math person. I
Mm,
weigh decisions using numbers, and so I
yeah.
look at the numbers and I was like, oh, this is pretty bad. There's like a 2% fatality rate, which means that's like 1 in every 50. And then I looked at well, at least during that time, that was the numbers that I could see. And then I look at my team, we're about 50 people, so I was like, one of us here will be dead. It's like kind of like that's kind of like how I said it. But there was actually a disconnect between what I knew, what I was
Mm,
saying, and what I was acting on. At least because I remember giving a talk, or like, in a meeting, we had a team wide meeting, and I remember sharing these statistics to my team, right?
mm,
That, okay, guys, we have to really be careful,
yeah.
because the statistics looks like 1 out of every 50 will die who that contract this. So 1 out of every 50 will die, and if it's just a matter of time before most of us will get it, so we have to be really careful. But at the same time, I was not super like into masks. Actually, I was not really into masks. Like, I was even saying that masks doesn't really work in protecting you. It works more for preventing you from getting it to others. That was what I was
Not not
saying.
not only you, Bertha. Like a lot of even no, I wouldn't say a lot, but I know people from the medical profession say that too, right? And that
Yeah,
was like misinformation, and I think that was something that didn't go well, and we should moving forward change. Like if you're not sure about what you're gonna say, like maybe don't say it, or research first, right? It's like misinformation's very bad, like very
yeah.
deadly. Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and to connect with what didn't go well ultimately, like what did not go went so badly, was that actually it hit very close to home.
yeah.
So
I know, I
my
know.
my dad got sick. We didn't know it was COVID at that time.
Yeah,
He was actually one of the first people in Cebu that was known to get COVID after he
yeah. I
got
remember that.
diagnosed.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then my dad then ended up dying from COVID in the ICU, and like that's how we found out that there was that he got COVID, and then that's when like suddenly my statistics, which I said like it's just a matter of time, guys, before it hits one of us, and one of us is gonna be dead. And I didn't know, like I didn't think about it, that it was like it was gonna be me or my dad, like from our family. And then only then actually my action, like I started acting on things, right? Like, okay, now I'm taking the extreme stance of like everything should be sanitized, like no contact with other people, as much as
yeah,
possible, realistically possible, sanitizing everything, watching carefully the intake of things, and the even the airflow, bro. The airflow, the ventilation of. I analyzed it. Okay, where is it coming from? Like, if somebody outside coughs, like, will it eventually end up inside? Like, things like this. I went quite extreme, I would say. I think yeah. I mean, if it hits close to home, um, it really affects me. And now
yeah.
I have the opposite of an optimistic bias.
Like you're a
So
panic. There's a
I
panic monster in your brain. Not
I would
naman.
say not even a panic monster. I would say there's
It's
what do you call this?
overprotective,
Yeah, over optimized, over
over optimized.
optimized machine learning model that I can actually spot germs in my imagination, right? Like,
Wow.
okay, like you open the door, the airflow came in, and somebody probably, if they coughed outside, like that, like came in. So I now have to turn on the range hood to ventilate things, and so yeah, that's one thing. Well,
I
at the
think.
end,
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, what didn't go well for me. It hit us close to home. Actually, very at home, and yeah, my dad died. That's actually primary reason why I moved in with my mom, which is what I was thankful for. Not for my dad dying, but just,
Yeah.
just yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know, I know. Well, I wouldn't know, Bert, but I called you when I learned about the news, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, I
thanks,
mean,
thanks.
sorry, it's I'm kind of getting emotional now. But anyways, I think um to me naman, I think so. I think this is everyone, right? Like this is not gonna happen to me, right? And I think that should be our biggest learning, because like after a year, and this is the reason why I think we chose this as our first topic, because it's after a year. it's only gone worse, right? And it's an uptrend, and it's like always all-time highs. And I think it's because it wasn't like for you it was different. Like I think you were woke, right? You were woke early. But for me, I think we were kind of woke, right? Like we were like you put it very well, right? Like your thoughts and what you're saying when you're talking to public didn't align with what you were doing. It was, I think, the same for us, right? I think when the things were a bit more loose here in Metro Manila, we even went to see some friends, right, for Christmas. But I think that was more also like a longing for
Yeah, I
social
mean, you gotta
activity.
weigh things, right?
Yeah. But
I mean, you take precautions and stuff,
yeah,
and you
exactly,
gotta
exactly. We
measure
did, we
like
did,
what's important to you.
we did,
Because
we did.
you may survive COVID, but if you go crazy,
That's true. Which is part of the things that didn't go well too, right? Like especially for us, we're outdoors people, and now all of a sudden we were forced to be in a condo and just be there. It's all repetitive.
oh no, this is not something that didn't go well as well. Jerb froze. I'm gonna give him 5 seconds. This will become a CTO discuss live stream, or I don't know if I'm the one who got cut off. Let me make sure that I am actually still alive. Okay, I feel like I'm connected. All right. Okay, so if you just tuned in, if you just tuned in, I don't know what happened to Jerb, but maybe Rocky, his dog, maybe chewed on his network cables, and that's how we lost him. But if you're just tuning in or if you're watching it, ask comments. Give me your thoughts. Give us your thoughts, and we can discuss this as Jerb tries to get back on. Yeah. Um, yeah, I want to know. I want to know what went well for everybody, for you guys. What went well? What didn't go well? I mean, I think one of the things, as we were talking about my dad dying, and Jerb was getting emotional, I kind of felt weird that maybe people think weird that I didn't feel that emotional, and maybe like, what's wrong with him? His dad died, and he's just talking about it so casually. So my dad died March last year, and I broke down. I broke down like the whole first month. I was just every day, actually, I was just crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And so um what really helped actually was my mom. My mom has so much faith. To put it bluntly, she believes, so not believes, I would say it's just completely a reality for her that my dad is in a better place now, and she is happy. And I remember crying one day, and my mom came up to me and she said, like, Albert, like, why are you so sad? And I was like, yeah, because I miss daddy. And she was like, yeah, me too. But he's in a much better place now. And the Lord has better plans for us, because we wanted dad to be alive. We wanted dad to recover, but the Lord didn't let him. The Lord chose to take him. And that's because God has a better plan. And there are many times in my life, my mom said, there are many times in my life when I prayed so much that God will do this and God will do that, and he didn't, and I got mad. But then later I realized that it's much better that it didn't happen. And so this one, I don't understand why the Lord didn't grant my wish, but I am so happy that I'm not so happy, but I know that because he didn't, it means he has a better plan for us. And so that's why I'm kind of like, that really comforted me. And that's why I that's helped me move forward. Yeah. So, Jerb, thank you. Welcome
Sorry,
back.
sorry about that, guys. I think si Rocky's our dog. Rocky wants to join, really?
Yeah, is Rocky there?
He is, and he was kicking the camera, and yeah, I think it was a bad choice, like retrospective, like putting him inside.
But Anthony here is saying, let Rocky in.
Oh no.
Well, Rocky, Anthony wants
Maybe
chaos.
next time. Maybe next time, Tony. Maybe next time. Where was I? I think I was saying, what was I saying? For us, like travel addicts, right? And we were forced to be in one area, all repetitive. I think that was very tough for us. And so when the opportunity came, and of course, we also checked with each other, right? Now, are you healthy? And some of us got got tested even. But still,
Mhm.
right? I think the main, going back to the point of, it's not gonna happen to me. Like 3 months after, right? Like I think this was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Um, I went to our office, right? And it was for a shoot for the final pitch. And
Right.
then one of our guys actually got COVID, right? And it
Oh,
it was
okay.
so close because I was talking to him and we were all interacting, right? And so
Mhm.
all of a sudden, Marcy and I really felt like really scared, right? Like at times, na it's hard for us to sleep. And the thing is, Bert, right? Like last year we used to joke about it, right? Like because we went to, so our flight going to the States was Philippines, Taiwan, and then US, right? And so Taiwan is really close to Wuhan, right? And so we thought that while we were actually in the States, we probably got it, right? And we were sick actually, right? And go we when we went back from our vacation, we were sick a lot, and then
When
we
was
were
this, sir? When was this?
this was, so we got back February, right? But even,
February last year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So like when we were like, every time we were sick, right? And we were having chills. Of course, we would take a leave, but we would say na COVID na to, blah blah blah. But at that time, we didn't, like, I we thought we had it, but there was no fear, I guess, of parang dying. Now we can, I mean, we're
Yeah.
strong, we're
Yeah.
young, and at that time, do I remember it was said na it's the elderly people are the ones that are the highest.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought now we're fine, but this one though, like being in front of that guy who had it, and there's certainty that he had it. It was
Yeah.
scary, man. And
It's
yeah, and I like, mas lalo na for you that it was your dad, like, right? Like
yeah.
very close. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
COVID has no longer just become like a respiratory or a physical body battle. For
Yeah,
somebody who gets it, it's also very much, maybe even more, a mental battle,
true,
right? Like
true,
you,
true.
how can you recover if you're not able to sleep? And how can you sleep if you're thinking like, I need to recover? Like, oh my gosh, like, am I gonna die? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
true, true.
crazy. It's a huge mental battle. And so I think that's what makes it even worse. One thing that comes up to my mind is that what didn't go well, I think, is that we didn't realize immediately that this COVID thing like has a 14-day like gap
That's
or
what
like
makes it worse, actually, right?
yeah,
Like you
because
could
you
be,
don't
and you could be asymptomatic pa, Bert. That's the
yeah.
worst, right? Like I could not have the symptoms but carry the virus and transmit it to people. That's
Yeah.
scary,
And then they
right?
don't know that they have it yet because it takes up
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
14 days to
Yeah.
show up. And then they're also meeting other people thinking that they don't have it. And so suddenly you have, after 14 days, almost everybody shows up at the same time getting it.
Yeah, it's so hard to track, Pajud. It's very hard to track, right? I mean, how would you know if, like, if you were a carrier, you press an elevator button, right? And then the other guy, diba? You couldn't track those things. It's so hard. And because there
True.
is a waiting period, it makes it all the, like, harder to defeat, right? And I was like doing research before the talk, right? Before this conversation.
Hmm.
The last one that they compared this to was the smallpox, right? But the thing with smallpox, that it was a bit more controllable than COVID. It's because smallpox was only transmittable with people. COVID isn't. It can be carried by animals, right? Like, and
Oh,
it
really?
came
I
from
did
a
not know
bat.
that.
There's ano. I mean, syempre it came from a bat. So,
Oh, yeah, I
'di ba?
remember. I
'Di ba?
remember reading
So,
this article where I think in Denmark, somewhere in
mm,
Europe, where they slaughtered and then buried all these mink,
mm,
um,
mm,
this animals that was the major industry for them,
mm,
for fur, mink fur. And they slaughtered all these animals because they were getting COVID and they were mutating the COVID virus, potentially
yeah.
making it like a different. well, a mutated virus that they can pass back on to humans in a different form, in a mutated form. So
Yeah.
this was dangerous. So they did made a decision to actually kill all like reset the entire industry essentially. I thought that that was quite an extreme move. Like for me, like that felt very well. One thing,
Harsh.
decisive, impressive. At the same time, like wow, that was drastic, which also communicated
Urgency.
the seriousness,
Yeah.
of the situation. And I was like, wow, kudos to whoever made that decision and actually executed it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be want I wouldn't want to be that guy who pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
Right?
because
But
you're essentially like disrupting the whole industry, right?
true. But at the same time, the like a lot of people are also against animal cruelty, diba? It's like I mean, like Bert,
Yeah.
we
Well,
have two dogs.
technically, mink fur, like racing mink
Actually,
fur,
actually,
is
actually,
is already like
actually, come to think of it, but yeah, like for us, right? We have two dogs, right? And I think
Mhm.
so far, I don't know, like I think they can't be careers, right? I should do research. If you guys know about this, you could probably comment it below. But we have two dogs. We walk them every day, right? And
Right.
that's exposure, right? That's exposure. And all these things you kind of think of. And to me and Marcy, really, after a year, and again, this is not relatable to you because you felt it right at the start. For us now, it's closer than before. No, not the numbers are turning to names who we really know and are really close to us. And my voice is breaking now because I'm scared, Bert. Like it's scary, right?
But are you
It's so
past the
scary.
did you get a test? Sorry,
Oh,
you
I'm
were
done. I'm done. We're
okay.
safe. This was like
Okay,
3-4 weeks ago, so we're good.
okay,
But
good to
at
know.
that time, we had like I think I had six tests in a span of 2 weeks because we were shooting too, right? And it was a requirement. But yeah, it was an experience. Uh, for sure, right? Like medyo nasanay na ako with with
Yeah,
with everything, like the nose, like being
I've
poked.
actually never tried getting a test. I don't want to be in a situation where I need to get a test. So yeah,
Yeah, actually,
but I have
I
never
think
had. Yeah.
yeah, I think it should be made available like better. I think it is already, but I think people should not be afraid, right? It's like if the
True,
more
true.
you know, the better. And I think that again is a result of that optimism bias. Na I'm never gonna get it. So I think I think people should not be afraid about being tested, right? And actually, like I've done it, and I was also fearful na like it would hurt so much because a lot of people post it
Yeah, does it
online,
hurt?
right?
What is it?
It does, but I think well, I kind of have like a very high pain tolerance, but yeah, I would say it would hurt. It hurts, but I got used to it. Like the third
Okay.
time, it was like nothing, not for me.
Okay.
But to me, the peace of mind, Bert, is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like
It's worth it.
after. Yeah, bro. After we knew that our guy. By the way, the guy also is healthy now, and he's
Okay.
fully recovered. So thank God for that. But after we knew, like we rushed, like we dropped everything, no more meetings. We went to the nearest testing center and got tested right away because like the sooner you know that you're not not like infected, the better. So
Yeah.
yeah. You want to
Okay.
move to Bert? You want to move to where we could improve? Like what can we improve? Like after a
Sure.
year,
Yeah. What can we improve? Usually this goes hand in hand with what can we do better. But what can we improve? Ooh, okay.
you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think a lot of people were like work wise or personal wise, like social experience were affected by being enclosed, right? But I think if you're very creative, right? Like what you did, no? Like virtual
I do.
syncs every day.
Oh, okay.
No, it's synth, right? Syncing every day, not work related at all. That helps a lot, right? Like people crave social interactions, right? And I think having a parang formal structure about things kind of to force you to do it at the start, but it opens up all those dynamics, and it makes it, I guess, more bearable to be at home and just be at home, right? So
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's a social interaction component to it. The other thing is, and I wasn't able to say this earlier, but a lot of us, even though we have such a huge bump in productivity, also had a huge bump in terms of engagement. No, actually downtrend pala. Kaya it's stressful, right? And I think you've heard the term out of sight, out of mind, right? But in this scenario, it's always in sight, meaning work,
Right.
right? Like you always see your laptop, you always see your ano, and because people know that you're just at home and you're accessible, um, it's like 24/7, right? And a lot of people are stressed out by that. Like I heard and seen a lot of posts on social media na respect our time, something like that. And I think that's actually something that we can improve on, right? I think for myself and Marcy, what we actually do is we put a cutoff, right? Like work ends at this hour, and then after
Is this
that
like
we
a whole company cutoff or just you and Marcy?
no, just me and Marcy. But of course, it
Okay.
should be like after real work, right? We can't cut off
Got
at
it.
3 p.m. and not work anymore. But like like a healthy cutoff, right? Like ours usually starts at 8:30, it ends at 5:30. And so we
Okay.
say like cutoff is 7 or 6:30. And after that, we enjoy, we play with the dogs.
Right.
There has to be you have to force work life balance. I saw your I saw you online talking about time management. It
Right.
should be
Yeah.
like that. Like you should
Yeah.
really put time for breaks, right? And not work or something. Like be take a vacation, right? Like before, like this is true for us in our company, right? Our like before, you would think a vacation is like going somewhere, right? Going far and change of scenery. But in this scenario, in the new normal, a vacation is just like turning it off, right? Like take a vacation leave, but you could just stay at home, right? And stay with your family and not work at all. Like consider it na like it's like a shut off talaga because it's really hard, right? Like because nga, it's always in front of you. It stresses you out. Like you're always working and people are always contacting you. So take a vacation. We've actually mandated people to take a vacation at some point last year because we've seen the stress levels very high. Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
How about
For
you?
for
Like, go
yeah,
ahead.
for my side, I would say what I can improve or what I would hope we can improve and figure out together is actually social interactions, right? Like I feel like
Actually, wrote
uh,
that down too. I said
with
social interactions.
with work, like we're so used to getting on a call, so we can do kickoff syncs. I can socialize at work. Like I have no
Yeah.
problem socializing with people at work because I'm so comfortable like getting on a call with them, a Zoom call with them, and talking about
Mm,
random stuff because that's what you do with people at work. You get on a Zoom call with them. But
mm.
getting on a Zoom call with a friend, like
True.
it's a bit weird, right? But I haven't spoken to a lot of my friends for a long time. I mean, we sort of only caught up with each other because we were gonna do this
True,
live
true,
stream
true,
together.
true, true.
But aside from that, like I feel like I got a bit disconnected. Not a bit, it's an understatement. Like I got really disconnected with my social circles. Like we would chat with Messenger once in a while, but like that, spontaneous, casual, over drinks,
Yeah,
um, kind of conversations, eat out and just
yeah.
have fun and make jokes and all these things. That really disappeared for me, and that didn't really have like an online counterpart.
Yeah, for us, Bert, here, what we do is we do virtual Newmans, right? Like we get on a Viber call or Zoom call,
Uh
and we
huh.
just talk about random things with the barkada. And we're having drinks too, right? Like
Or
everyone
maybe I'm
has
the one
like a
missing
glass of
out.
wine. Maybe,
Maybe
maybe.
everybody's doing it, and I'm like, oh, I just didn't get invited to these things.
Guys who are listening or tuned in, invite Albert to virtual Inumans.
I'll put it on my schedule. Maybe that's why.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. You should. Time management. Time management.
yeah, but I think that's one thing that I know that I can improve. I don't know if there's other people out there who feel like they can improve in that. And if
Mm.
that's something, yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Inuman. So what do? You get on a Zoom call, you schedule it with your friends, and then you just have your own drinks and wine and
Yeah, bro. And
just
we talk about
random.
random stuff, right? Like even chismis, right? And we even play
But this
games,
is
right?
with friends. This is not with like
Yeah,
work
this is
people.
Barkada. This is Barkada. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean,
And these are not the
most
same
of them from
people.
work too.
Yeah, see, that's a thing. Like, if it's like, yeah, I have no
Oh,
problem doing
but
that.
Robert, we actually do it with work people too, right? And my wife, she does it so well with her team. Like every Friday, they do like a gathering and they just play games, right? And it's they're not doing anything that's related to work. They just play games. It's amazing
Yeah.
and it keeps the team morale high, I guess, because it's because before, like after work in our office, we have there's people that brought PlayStation, PSPs, and
Uh
we
huh.
plug them into the big screens and everyone plays, right? And every
But sure, I
Friday,
don't. This is not a problem for us actually. Like for
mm,
work stuff, we have activities like that. Like it's so easy for me to get on a
mm,
Zoom call, or on a whatever call and do like games with people at work. Like no
mm,
issues.
mm.
It's actually the outside of work that I'm having like
Oh,
that's those circles of people.
yeah.
Because maybe because we never did Zoom calls before with them. There's no that kind of like, so when that part of life got shut down, like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
I think it's just a mindset shift, Bert. No, like it's. I
true,
mean,
true.
this is the way you communicate now. Like everyone's gonna do it this way, and you
I
should try
agree.
it. Right?
I
Actually, we
agree.
should try it. Like
Yeah.
me, Marcy, Nikki.
Yeah.
Let's
We
hop on
should.
a
We should.
call, diba?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You know what you said earlier that, and we were talking about Taiwan, right? Like they had a personal experience, and that's why the next time around they were so good at it. And on your perspective, the man you experienced it, it was your dad, right? Like it was
Mhm.
very close. It couldn't get any closer than that. I think personally, like for everybody actually, no, what we could improve actually is like just owning up to it, right? Like let's just because what we can control is ourselves, right? Like our perspectives, our worldview, our the way we look at things. Like we cannot control the government, we cannot control the local government, we cannot control everybody around us, but we can control ourselves, right? And so I think being more vigilant about this pandemic, this virus, would do us so much, right? In the same way as Taiwan as a country, because they felt it in SARS, and in the same way as you did, and now you're doing all these countermeasures, maybe you could call it, because you experience it. No, I mean, don't wait for that to happen to you. I guess. I mean, I'm telling myself
Yeah.
that I won't
Yeah.
wait for myself to actually experience it, right? And I should be more vigilant. And
Right.
yeah. I think that's my key takeaway. If you if you probably call it
Yeah.
that, no, that what I can improve is to just own it and not I mean, you first before others, right? Like change the way you see things, right? And own it
This is
for sure.
interesting because I'm sensing now that my gap between like having this optimistic bias that it's not gonna happen to me,
Mm.
and then how that got like corrected because of my experience was very small. Like optimistic, COVID, optimistic bias, and then my dad died, and then now I'm just paranoid my whole life, right? Like so. But
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing with you, it's more of like COVID. You're like your time for optimistic bias is quite some time, and then now you're realizing it with your scare, right?
Yeah, I think there should be a balance
Yeah.
to it. Like what you said, right? Like you make your own decisions,
Hmm.
but be I guess just be careful, right? I mean, we're it's the numbers are increasing,
Okay,
and
I agree.
if we don't, like if we like ourselves don't do something about it, like who else would you expect? I mean, why would you expect others to do better if you can't do better yourself, right? In lang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, time check. We're at 8:03. So it's been an hour that we've been talking here.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last part. Like, what confuses or puzzles you? And maybe if you guys are watching this and you also have something, feel free to comment. Yeah.
Yeah, interact. We can see your comments, guys.
By the way,
Like what?
Nicole just said, corrected me. It was actually Jerb's birthday, and we greeted you, and then you said that we should keep in
Oh, there I
touch
see.
more often. Yeah, and that's how this podcast live stream idea got started.
Yeah, galing, galing. So, guys, like what? Actually, Bert, I actually touched on it earlier, na, no? Like I'm still confused, even myself, right? Like about optimistic bias, no? Na I think I probably I don't know, probably a Filipino thing, I guess, no? Na we're kind of very optimistic about stuff. But yeah, I think that was confusing to me. And then the other one that I listed here was um after a year, it feels like we don't know a lot pa rin, right? Like it's still a lot of, you know, questions, right? And I'm thinking how could we actually end this, right? And I've read online the best case for us, like for mankind, it's actually that this would become like an endemic, right? Like something like chicken pox, right? Now something that is within like it's it's really present with us still in the
That's
world,
the
but
best case.
yeah, yeah, it's hard. It's so far that's the
Interesting.
best case now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's an endemic. So yeah, I don't know. Like we exactly that. Like I think that's confusing that we still don't know a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's
How about
confusing
you?
to me actually is what's confusing to me, not just actually in a COVID sense, but this got amplified by COVID, is actually how we as society, and not just like the world, like Philippines, but the world in general, we don't have accountability measures for fake news, or at least that's what I perceive.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like I could post something that's fake, and the only thing that can happen to me is that it will get reported, and like the worst that can happen will get reported or it will be taken down.
Mm, yeah,
But
that's
that's
yeah.
it. And I could have like very like people could literally die because
Yeah.
if they believe me.
That's a big topic, fake news. That's a big topic. We could probably talk about that on a separate episode, but I agree
Yeah, and
with
what
you.
confuses me is like
Yeah.
why there's no like, I mean, why is there no like, maybe I'm just missing out the legal stuff here and all these things, but it confused me like how
True.
this can actually not only be allowed but also like thrive.
True.
And
True.
and yeah, like it's I don't know if it's covered under this free speech thing, and it's a complex topic, right? But it really confuses me that people could literally die because of fake news, and yet there's very little liability for the people or the entities that actually create, author, and spread this, right?
Yeah.
So that's what confuses me.
that
um
that, that is confusing, right? And it's people's lives, right? And
yeah.
the thing like when you said that, I also thought like it's probably like human nature too, right? Like it's well, I don't know, probably not.
I mean, I'm not
You want to
confused
share?
that there's fake news. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure like that's prevalent, and like I can see why people would want to do that and why people do that. But just the lack of accountability, right? Because fake
mm,
news or false information has consequences and they affect people's lives. And so I feel like people should be held accountable for that to
no, that's
some
true, that's
degree.
true. Yeah,
and
yeah, I
and
mean
I feel like that's
everybody
not yet there. Mhm.
everybody should be accountable. It's hard though, like I mean, like some people might be sharing it because they want people to know, right? But nobody facts checks. Like nobody does fact checking, right? And I remember this article na anyway, it's probably a long topic, but like people don't read, they comment right away when they see the headlines, right? And
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah,
it's
this is
very
common.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe we could cover like internet pet peeves or how to be an educated internet user.
Maybe next
Don't
next
just
on
don't
next
just read the
episodes.
headline, read the article as well. Wag
True,
maging
true.
tanga. Like,
That's true.
sorry.
That's true. Wag maging tanga. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe
It's like people. It's yeah. I actually wrote that also on what confuses me. It's spread of misinformation because yeah. I mean, I think people would just have to like mm, like really know the gravity of the the things you post online, like words, right? Yeah, yeah.
last, bro. I mean, let me sneak this in because we're supposed to be CTOs, technology people. I think one
Go.
thing we didn't really touch on was actually like the contact tracing technologies and apps
Yeah, yeah.
that we used. I think what confused me, I don't know if it confused you, was that we we had so many different apps and everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah,
It took us a year to
yeah.
even begin to like start to say like, hey, let's just use one app, right?
And we're not
Um,
even using one app now.
I mean, I've heard news that we're supposed to be only using one app supposedly now, but I
Yeah.
don't think that's still like actually happening. Right? And what confuses me is really like how it in the world did it take us a year before that actually got organized. And I think this is a point that I also want to make for people who are going into technology. Technology is just one thing. Just because doesn't you build a solution doesn't mean that it
True.
will work or it will
Yeah,
get
yeah,
used. Like
yeah.
there are so much more dynamics than just building a contact tracing app or building an app in general for something. You have to take into account like I don't know, in this case, like the politics, the jurisdictions,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
like the
I'm
the preferences of people, and so on and so on.
yeah, it's a lot. And I say this a lot also in our company, right? I think solutioning for the problems in terms of tech is always the easiest part of the problem solving process, right? I think it's the process and the people that actually are more difficult, right? And when you mentioned that why it took a year, I think months after the ECQ, I've seen a lot of guys in the tech industry and startup community post about contact tracing apps, and it was there, but anyway, it's a
Yeah, the
difficult topic.
technology is just one component of a bigger solution,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you need to take that whole thing. It's not a technology call anymore, right?
It's not. Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's not.
It's not a technology decision. It's now no longer a CTO level decision.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's more than that. There's politics. There's everything. But yeah, I think people should have the more like the resolve to actually also make it happen, right? And yeah, yeah. I think yun na lang. Let's leave it at that. Like own
Yeah,
up to what you can do and do it, right? I mean, don't wait for other people to make it happen for you. Yeah.
cool. Sure. So in summary, we talked about a lot of things. Mostly we blabbered. This is our first episode, but that's the retrospective format, right? You talk
Mm-mm.
about what went well, just go about that. Do you talk about what didn't go well, and we did, and that wherever that takes you, and then you talk about what can be improved, and we talk about some of those things, and then finally what confuses me. And in the part where you talk about what confuses me, in this case we just talk about what confuses us, and there's no resolution. But usually when you're doing your retrospective for your teams, you kind of need like a resolution. Like I try to answer and try to find out, okay, that's how,
Right.
let's find the answer for that. Let's provide clarity here and there. Let's
Right.
figure out the answer, and that's how you kind of like have your takeaways and what to do next, and how and so to clarify that, because you can't let your team go on and be confused, right? So
Correct. Correct. Correct.
cool.
Correct. Thanks, Bert. I think this
Yeah.
was a good session. Yeah, we
Yeah, I
kind of
like it.
blabbered, but yeah, I think this is a
No, we
healthy
blabbered,
dose of what you need.
but live stream and blabbering like this is part of it. And thank you to everybody who joined us,
Thank you,
and
guys.
thank you to everybody who commented. Thanks Carl and Tony, Um, Camille, I think these are mostly your friends, and my wife and
Hello, everyone.
Marcy.
By the way, guys, follow CTOs Discuss on Facebook and YouTube to get notified for the next episodes. And this is a very fresh thing for us, no? Like for Albert and the team behind us. And so we obviously have a lot to improve. And so your comments, your feedback would be very helpful to us. So send that to us. And at the same time, we're welcome. Also, we welcome topics for discussions, right? Like we've been talking offline about, hey, we should do this and that. Like I think one topic that I'm excited to actually talk about maybe in the next round, Bert, is like how to go about your IT career. Because I think like we're CTOs, right? And I think a lot
Yeah,
of people might welcome that, no? Na how did we get to where we're at now? Because I think we offer very unique perspectives, you and I, because you came from the startup kind of route, right? I went the corporate route of IT, and I think that would be a good topic. But hey, you guys are watching this, and so let us know what you want to hear from us, right? Like, what do we want
yeah,
to discuss again on the lenses of two CTOs, right?
yeah. And we can also talk on the next episodes
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
actually Jerb and my history. We have a longer history actually.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So it
That's
goes
I think is
straight back more than
an
10 years
hour
ago.
an hour topic too, like relationships, everything.
Cool. Okay. Thanks everyone. And that's it. That's a wrap for our first episode. Thank you for
Thank you,
watching
guys.
CTOs
Thank
Discuss.
you.
Good night.
See you in the next episode, guys. And then I guess before we go out, a word again or the video from our sponsors. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
You want to be a developer who is competent by the tech industry standards, but you aren't sure how to get there. OmniQuotient is here to help. By selecting the tech that you use and answering questions belonging to these technologies, you can check if you are currently using the recommended practices in coding. If you aren't, you will learn what these practices are, so you can go ahead, learn them, and become a better developer producing better code. OmniQuotient. Learn how professionals code.